It was poppin' guys, Sizzle here, and now we're probably taking a look at the weapon with the biggest fall from grace other than maybe the R-rate, the CZ75-Auto. So first off, we have, the stock skin, and it's probably one of the worst. I mean, this bullet sticking out here just looks ugly, and then the rest of this looks worn, but like in a bad way. Like, it looks like it's got like a lot of wear and just like, I don't know how to describe why it looks bad, but it just kind of does. Pretty ugly stock skin, all things considered. Like a very, very low D tier for me. And yeah, that bullet's gonna be the source of a lot of my issues with many of these skins, because I don't know, I mean, it just looks bad. You don't really see it in game though, so it's not as much of a problem as I'm kind of making it out to be. Just as a heads up going forward. Anyway, then we have our first real skin, the CZ Auto Green Blade. Pretty solid plain color scheme for the most part. I mean, it's a solid green with a solid tan, but then for some reason they have like the blade design on like a 15th of the gun. Like, it's barely on the gun, but it's on it enough that it just looks out of place. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's probably still better than stock, but that's maybe all I can give it credit for, which isn't a lot in this case. And a lot of other weapons it kinda is, though. Then we have the CZ75 Army Sheen. I mean, I know this like little front part here is normally covered by your hand. That still doesn't mean it should go untextured. Plus, the camo's yet again only on this like top like 15th or whatever. I guess the back here is also green, but I generally don't like the Army Sheen because I think like a camo skin is supposed to blend in, be all dull, and like blend in with the background. And then when you have a sheen on your camo skin, it defeats the whole point. Easy F tier for me. There's probably gonna be a lot of CZ skins going in the F tier for me that is... I don't know. I really don't like what they do with a lot of them. I'm assuming this is it. Seems about right. Anyway, we have the CZ Auto Indigo, which, yeah, I mean, this one's actually just kind of clean. This actually, I think the base here looks almost green. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but the base looks almost green. The top here is a nice, like, darkish blue, and then the rest of it's like a, the same, like, stock black that you see elsewhere. Just a really clean, simple finish across the whole weapon. Nothing, like, insane, doesn't look super crazy, but it definitely does not look bad. Like, it's just a solid middle-of-the-ground C-tier type of skin. Then we have the CZ75 Jungle Dash, which is horrible. Really bad looking background with probably the worst possible colors you could pick there. And then you have these stupid little paint stripe things. If someone can explain to me in the comments what these things are, I've been wondering, because there's like a million skins with them, and they just look absolutely horrible. I don't like any of the skins with the paint stripes on them, and even if the paint stripe things weren't there, this is definitely just a super ugly skin. Like, there's no redeeming factors with this skin. Now the question is, can I find it with its super small preview? My eyesight is not the greatest, which is probably going to be problematic here. I really cannot find this thing, like, at all. What did I put it here? Is the Army Sheen? I'm just gonna assume the Army Sheen is this one, and then this is the Jungle Dash. The Army Sheen is better than the Jungle Dash, but they're both very clearly F tier and just worse than stock. Anyway, then we have the CZ Auto Framework. Relatively clean finish, and it has a design on the top, but the design on the top somewhat works with the clean finish. It doesn't work with it all that great, but it does work somewhat. It's a relatively bright skin, but I still am gonna put it just... I don't know, high D tier, low C tier. I'll put it low C tier to be a bit generous, but this thing does not look as clean as the Indigo. Then we have the CZ75 Auto Silver, and this one does it right. I mean, it has a silver finish on like the whole weapon pretty much. I mean, the rest of this, like this front strip covered by the handle, and then this front little barrel you rarely ever see. It's just kind of a shiny CZ Auto with a relatively clean finish. You can't go too wrong with this one. Definitely a middle of the pack type of C tier skin. Then next up we have the CZ Auto Midnight Palm. I think this is the one I currently have equipped because I was given one by someone I know. But otherwise, I might not have really used it. I mean, it's got a really dull background to it. It's like an almost gray color with... I guess it also has that like netting, like the mesh that you see on a lot of other skins, but it's so dull and so dark that you don't even see the mesh, and it's also really small. That helps a lot. And then you just have these palm trees coming across it randomly. They don't really add a lot. I mean, I guess they add a bit of like flavor to this thing, but it's really just a dull, like CZ skin. It's definitely better than stock though, I'll give it that. It's kind of a boring skin, but it's it's really just what stock maybe should have looked more like, so I'm gonna put it at the bottom of C tier for that. Then we have the CZ Auto Tuxedo. I mean, yeah, it's a tuxedo. The tuxedo is generally really clean finishes. This is no exception. Really nice color black on the whole bottom half and the barrel, and then a nice white finish on the top there, which we're gonna see. Just clean, really, really clean. Probably S tier material clean, unless we see something absolutely crazy. Then next up we have the CZ Auto Nitro. And this one's kind of inverted, right? It almost pulls up with the tuxedo had, but for some reason the main gun here is orange, and the barrel tip is orange, so just this top part here. It doesn't look too bad, but it actually looks a lot worse because the gun looks a lot more fragmented when you have it inverted like this. Definitely doesn't look horrible or anything, but it's really all I can say about this thing. I'm probably gonna put it right under the Indigo, which I think looks a bit cleaner. Then we have the CZ Auto Emerald, which, yeah, I mean, there's like, it's almost like its entire gun here in the back that's the Emerald with just like attachments on it. I mean, I guess that's probably what the CZ really is. But yeah, I mean, nice shiny green finish. I'm not exactly sure if I would call this an emerald finish, but it's definitely a nice color green. Nice shiny one, works well with the shine. Probably solid B tier skin. It's pretty solid. Then we have the CZ Auto Emerald Quartz, which, I don't know, it doesn't look phenomenal. First off, half of it's stock. Second off, there's this like weird color green in the back here, and then the part that's the quartz looks more like grass. Yeah, I don't know, it doesn't do a lot for me. I'm honestly just not using this over stock, probably a low D tier for me. Then there's the Crimson Web, which, and yeah, it does what the tuxedo does, but instead of that really clean white, it's got a relatively solid crimson web and red finish. And yeah, I mean, you can't go too wrong with it. Solid A tier for sure, but not as clean because, you know, it has an actual design here, although the webs do actually go well with the rest of the black here. And, you know, this little red dot here, maybe it's been on all the skins, but it actually looks kind of okay here as well. Just thought I'd mention it. Then we have the CZ Auto Poison Dart. One of the more used things I saw for a while. It's probably because last time I saw the CZ was when it was used, which was in early CS. I mean, it's not a lot to say here. It's got like a cleaner version of the body of stock, and then some like kind of blue pattern on the top that somewhat works with stock. It's only marginally better than stock though. I wouldn't use it too much over the other stuff in D tier, but it's probably our highest D tier skin yet. Then we have the CZ Auto Twist, which is kind of a twist on nothing, because this is exactly how like half these skins are. Unlike a lot of the other skins that have like a bad color down here and then the design up here, this actually is a really solid color white to the point that it would honestly probably fit well in like a whiteout in the back, which is okay. And then the main design also incorporates a bit of white. I mean, it's like some little twisting clouds on like a blue background, so it kind of works. It's unfortunate that half of it's stock, so I'll have to dock some points there, but otherwise, I mean, relatively clean finish, relatively, you know, like light and visible, and it's pretty solid. I'd say it's a low B tier. Not as good as the Emerald, but still in B tier, I think. Then we have the CZ Hexan, just a really solid, like darkish blue gray finish. I know it also has the little orange hexagon pattern up here, but honestly, it's barely visible, and otherwise the skin looks relatively just whole as like a little dark CZ skin. That's all it is. It does it pretty well. I'm just gonna put it at the top of C tier. I can see why people might want to use this. Then we have the CZ Imprint, which is like HD quality CZ. Everything, I think even the barrel looks a bit different. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but this just looks like ultra HD quality. The colors go together well. It's a relatively solid design. It's nothing too insane, but it's definitely just really solid, really well crafted, really well put together. I think it's well deserving of a high B tier placement. Then next up we have the CZ Polymer, which, I mean, I think it has like the better base, but the main design here of this like light blue and green and like gray Design up here does not go too well with the rest of this weapon, and honestly this color blue combined with this color like blackish gray just does not go well together at all. Honestly probably just like a middle of the pack, maybe honestly worse than stock D tier. Yeah. We have the CZ Distressed, which, I mean, is interesting. It's like a really, like this almost has like the texture of like a penny. Like, I don't know if you guys live in the US, but if you do, or I guess in Canada too, probably a lot of countries have similar coins, whatever. But the material they use in like a penny, I think, is also copper. Kind of looks like how a penny looks after it's been in circulation for like 2-3 decades, and it gets like really kind of dirty, but still you can kind of make out what it was. It's the same thing here. This honestly is kind of like the rust coat of CZ skins, and it actually does a relatively good job of kind of showing that use, unlike a lot of rust coats. So for that, I'm putting it as a very low B tier. I wouldn't use it personally, but I can see why a lot of people might. Then we have the CZ Vendetta, which, yeah. This was trying to be a Fallout skin, and then it became like super glazed for some reason. Like, it's way too shiny for a Fallout skin. Otherwise, they had, you know, some pretty standard Fallout skin design going on. But it's just really shiny for some reason. So for me, that kind of bumps it down a lot, probably into under the indigo in C tier. Then we have the CZ Circadus, I think is what this is called, and this one's kind of unique. It's just like a nice little hawk bird thing in the back, really good design, nice background, and kind of feathers coming off of it. I mean, the main thing is you just look at this bird, and the bird's pretty cool colors on it. The background's nothing too crazy, but the design of the bird is like solid enough that I would actually put it probably in B tier as well. Honestly, probably right below the emerald. Pretty solid, pretty well done. Then we have the CZ Chalice, used as part of the steps of trading up for Dragon Lore. And, yeah, I mean, it's got an interesting bottom and top combo that actually works pretty well. The parts that are stock look kind of out of place, but otherwise, I mean, this is actually a decent color of blue, and I don't know if this is yellow or what you'd really call this color. But they go well together. They actually look kind of good. I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of unfortunate this is such a valued trade-up skin, because I think it actually looks relatively solid. Definitely nothing insane, but honestly, probably just, this one's literally right below the emerald for me. Then we have the CZ Auto Syndicate, which, yeah, it's a primarily, like, yellow skin. I wouldn't really call this gold, unlike the other, like, Syndicate-looking stuff. And then you have, like, some black texture go with it. I mean, it doesn't look horrible, but it really does not have a lot going on that looks particularly nice. It's got a decent color scheme, I guess, I'll give it that, but honestly, it's just a high C tier for me. Maybe low B tier, you could maybe move it there, but for me, I'm putting it in high C tier. Because, like, lost potential. I've seen what they've done with, like, the M4A4 Coalition, and this is just a complete waste of that kind of texture set. Then we have the CZ Tread Plate, which is like that, it's literally that metal plating just on the top of, like, a stock CZ. It's like a slightly shinier CZ. It's really all there is to it. The tread plate itself does not look bad or really good or anything. It really is just slightly better than stock, and that's exactly where it's going. Then we have the classic, the CZ Auto Tigress. It's like the most used CZ skin, and it kind of makes sense why. I mean, it's got a really beautiful finish of just a solid black for the most part, and the parts that aren't have this really cool thing to them, right? You have like a orange red like black fade on the back here, which looks really nice. You even have it here, but also with the tiger pattern, and then you have the nice really like vibrant orange tiger pattern up top. There's a reason this is like the most used skin, and I honestly probably highest S tier for me. Tuxedo doesn't have too much on this thing. This is kind of peak CZ design. I'm glad this came out as early as it did. Then we have the CZ pole position, which, yeah, it's like a finish line on a skin, and then you have like a gray background and a red outline here. But it's pretty much just the finish line. That's really what you're gonna see. Pretty bright skin, very simple, but pretty solid, honestly. Probably a low A tier for me. It really, simplicity is key. Then we have the Red Aster, which is not as nice. It's got a lot of different colors that go together. Okay. Doesn't look like really bad, but it kind of does look bad. I don't know how to describe why this looks bad, because this is almost the same color scheme as the Crimson Web, but this feels so much worse to look at, to the point that I think it kind of belongs maybe just right above the Nitro. Just for having a nice color red. That's pretty much it. That's all I can really say about this thing. Then we have the CZ75-Auto, which almost looks like two dualies, like kind of morphed together, that are like two pink and blue dualies morphed together, and it kind of looks clean for that. I mean, yeah, it's pink, blue, and gray. Decent color scheme, primarily pink though. So for all those people that like pink and purple, this is a pretty good option for you, I'd say. I'm gonna put it as a low A tier. It's just weirdly clean. Like the thing I described where it's like two dualies kind of stuck together just makes it look actually kind of good. I don't know why. That's all I can really say about it. Then we have our final purple, the Eco, which, I mean, yeah. Nice like lime green finish on the top and mag here, and then otherwise it's a very bright, like almost like the elephant tusk. I forgot what it, ivory, like an ivory finish on the bottom with a lime green top, which is kind of ironic when you're thinking about the word eco, because it's supposed to be eco-friendly. But yeah, pretty clean finish, pretty bright finish, just really not a lot of negatives here. Honestly, either right above or below the Crimson Web. Can't really decide, so I'm just going to put it below for now, but it really could go either way. Then we have the Fuchsias now, which would have been the contender for the pink or purple skin, except it's just super simple and like 90% stock with just a slight pink top. If you're going to go with the pink or purple skin, I would use that one from before. I think it's both cheaper and better looking. But if you really like kind of the simplicity of just a slight upgrade from stock with a different color top, go ahead. But it's still very much a D tier to me. It's just, like I said, slightly better than stock with a different color top. Then we have the CZ Yellow Jacket, which, yeah, got a yellow and gray design. The design itself is not good, but the color scheme is absolutely phenomenal. You can't really go too wrong with these colors, and honestly, just for the colors alone, it's middle A tier. The design itself is kind of mid though, which is why it's not higher in A tier, and honestly this would have been S tier if it had a solid color scheme, not color scheme, a solid pattern to it, but it doesn't. Then our final pink is the CZ Zanglio. I don't know how you say this. I just don't. But it's got an interesting thing going on. It's got a lot of really intricate designs here. I forgot what other skins this reminds me of, but this reminds me of that like one Deagle skin with all the waves and stuff on the bottom here. And then you just have a bunch of snakes everywhere. I think it's really cool how they incorporate like the snake eye into this little like circle that's been on all the skins, and then the other snakes are kind of looking at it because it's kind of special and looking forward at you. And then you have like these four snakes coming across the top that, you know, really nice color. Just, I don't know. It's like a nice aggressive CZ skin, and it just looks clean, and it's got the right color scheme. Like I said, people really like that pink-purple color scheme. I think it's probably the best skin they could go with for that. So for me, that's an S tier. Well done with whoever made this. And then our one and only red for the CZ is kind of bad. It's the CZ Victoria. Mostly stock with like a super HD top. At least with the top, they did the top here and here. And they made it, you know, kind of gold and silver with like a decent finish, but this is definitely not like covert material. I'm actually kind of glad that the best skin in this CZ collection is hands down the Tigress in purple tier, which is good because it's cheap. But yeah, this is like marginally better than stock, probably enough to put it like maybe either below or right above the Indigo in C tier. But it really is not that great of a skin. I mean, this could easily have been like a gray or light blue skin. I would not have batted an eye. But yeah, that's it for the CZ. Hope you guys enjoyed looking at these as much as I did, and I will see you in the next one.